last Pursuit Daily. Can you believe
this is
we've
it?
been doing this for 21 days?
21 days.
God is so faithful because, let me say, in my own strength, our own strength, we would not have been doing this. But God has just continued to pour into you guys, hopefully, through these Pursuit Dailies.
Yes.
I'm Dana.
And I'm Matt.
And guys, how many of you have eaten all of your kids' Easter candy, or at least a lot of it after they napped?
Them Cadbury eggs.
How was your Easter yesterday? Resurrection Sunday?
A little different, but hopefully still good.
Yeah, I mean, we took naps. We watched a bunch of different services, and it was just a really great time. I think something our kids will remember for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Because it was just so us and intentional and focused. So hopefully you guys had the same experience, whether you stayed in your jammies all day or got dressed up for a nice Easter picture.
Or both.
We did both. I know we celebrated Jesus and the freedom we have through him.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. But moving on today, our last day.
Yeah, well, thank you for joining us. Like we said, it's been 21 days, which seems like so long now. I think in hindsight, we're like, wow, we made it. This is crazy. But thank you for those of you who have joined us along the way, who have been with us through it every day.
What up?
It's been a lot, but it's been great. And hopefully it's encouraged some of you in some way. I know it's done a lot for us personally. It's just been a time of that consistency, that pursuing God. And kind of what he has during this time for us.
A lot of refinement. There's been a lot that's come to the surface that I don't think we would have seen had we just continued in our busy pace of finding things to do at home. There's been a lot that's come up in our marriage and our personal life and our family that just we had to kind of work through because, I mean, let's just say it. Isolation and being in this at-home shelter brings out some of the nasties. And we're working through that still. But God has been so good and gracious about showing us and encouraging us through this. Like so many times I've told Matt that we'll talk about something or be encouraged by something and then that day we're handling or dealing with the same thing that we had just spoke about. I'm like, what the heck?
Isn't that how it often is? It's so
Always.
funny. But yeah, so as what we wanted to kind of leave you guys with today was just sort of what's next and what are you pursuing and how are you walking away from this? And I know that a big piece of this whole pandemic is that eventually things are going to go back to some sort of normalcy.
Who knows?
Some degree of something that maybe looked kind of how it was before. If nothing else, you might be going back to work, you might be getting back to, the kids will be back in school eventually, and we'll get to some sort of new routine and rhythm that won't just be staying at home, trying to figure out what like this weird summer break in the middle of spring looks like, right?
Yes.
So I think for us, we're just like, okay, so what does that mean, and what are we taking from this, and how are we walking away from this better than we were before, or in a time where we have this opportunity to connect with God in a deeper way? How are we going to move forward, and what are we taking away from it?
What are you pursuing in this time? And I think a lot of times we put so much pressure on ourselves to read the word and pray, but God's like, hey, this is the stillest you will probably ever be in your life. Like, this is the time that I've pulled back and I've drawn away so many distractions. So I'm a busybody. I've still found a lot of things to do in the house, but God's like, I'm still in those chaotic moments of, dealing with the children and bickering with your spouse. Like, God is still there in those moments. And I think like what Matt's saying is, how are you going to walk away from this different? Like, how are
you preparing for what's next?
Yeah. And whether that's 3 weeks, the shelter at home is released, or whether that it carries on for another 2 months, whatever that looks like, how are you preparing for what's next for you in this season, for your family in this season, when things do get somewhat back to a normal? And this is something that has been really heavy on my heart and Matt's heart. Like, we were just talking, it's like, so many times we put so much pressure on ourselves, as I was just saying, about connecting with God, and we have to wait for, like, oh, I can't connect with God, my kids are running around. But a lot of times our connecting with God is here, or it's when our kids are watching a show or slurping up their 4th bowl of cereal in the morning. Like, legit, it's not always some peaceful moment that is just, oh, the heavens are open. But a lot of times it's when we're doing dishes, it's when we're chasing the kids around in circles, and we just feel God impressing our hearts in something. And so like what Matt was saying, and also I think finding how you connect with God.
Right.
I think that can be a huge thing in this time of isolation or shelter in place, that you just really find how you best connect with God. And I know...
Yeah, and it can come in so many different ways. Like, I know for me personally, it's digging into sermons and podcasts and different speakers, different preachers, different pastors, different experiences, mostly online, because that's, especially right now, all that we really have access to. Yeah. But it's also great because it's such a huge library.
And
such
there's
a huge
so many resources out
opportunity,
there
resources,
right
so
now.
many ways to reach out to find those things.
Live worship experiences in other states, other countries. It's just so amazing what's at our fingertips. So I just feel like God is calling our nation to really utilize this time. I mean, look at the churches that have stepped up, who have never been doing live streaming, who are now doing full services, and they're at your fingertips daily, weekly. Mm-hmm. I know our church rebroadcast actually today at noon, live.reza.church, their Easter service. So maybe yesterday you still missed it, and they're doing a live broadcast today at noon. But I think something also, which is interesting because we're in such a peaceful time, but also kind of like a chaotic time, trying to cook every single meal and, cook every meal, keep the kids busy and fed and dressed and all that stuff. But something I realized in my life, and maybe you can relate, is God often speaks to me in the most chaotic times. So as we've said earlier, like, this is the stillest, most still time we've kind of ever experienced as a nation and in our home, but there's still moments of chaos. All right? A
little bit.
Quite often there's moments of chaos. And I think with that, it's just, knowing that God speaks to me in those moments a lot of times. And a scripture that I have clung to so dearly, do you remember what it is? Mm-hmm. Corinthians 14:33.
Oh, right.
God is
First
not...
Corinthians.
God is not a God of disorder, but a God of peace. He's not a God of confusion, but a God of peace. So anytime I feel that spirit of confusion or restlessness coming on my spirit, I'm like, okay, God, you are a God of peace. You are a God of peace. And even if I have to say that, speak it over my children. Just speak it over them.
Even when it doesn't feel like it.
Yes. God is still working behind the scenes, and He's a God of peace in this time. So
that's awesome. So I think going forward, we just want to make sure that we leave you with some resources, and knowing that, like, we're not going away just because the 21 days is done.
Please.
We're going to continue letting God use us. We're going to continue walking out this journey with you guys, and whatever it looks like.
Probably just not every day at the same time for 21 days.
Maybe
not. Probably not.
But, whether it's the continuing the at-home shelter for longer, whether it's transitioning into something new and different, whatever that looks like, we just know that God is leading us, all of us, and that it's in His hands, and we're just trusting Him each step of the way. And I just want to remind you as well, while we still are in this pandemic and this COVID-19,
shelter in place, shelter at home,
that we do have those resources that we created specifically for activities for the kids, activities for the whole family, and then also the date nights for couples.
Hold on. No one's getting the family ones. People are getting the kids ones and the couple ones. But the family ones, you guys, the family ones are so cool because they're from ages like literally 2 to 16. So
and not just that, it's the whole family. Like,
it's
the parents are involved too.
So like, if you can only get one, get the family one.
It's true.
Because you can also change those into date night ones.
Definitely. I honestly, if it were me and I was picking one, I'm not even saying this just because of what she said. I would honestly pick that one because it's got like pizza night. It's got like all the things that like I would enjoy as a dad and as a husband.
Like, you don't even have to be parents to get the family night.
But then the kids would love it too. But yeah, that's true. You
movie night bingo.
Just be living life without kids and it'd still be awesome.
Yeah. So just to say that we were shocked that no one's getting the family one, but it's okay because everyone's getting the couples or the kids one.
Hey,
it's great.
They're all great. So yeah, the PursuIT.com/COVID is where you can find those. Yeah. And we just want to make sure that you guys know that we're still here. We're still trucking along.
Continue to pursue it daily.
Absolutely.
PursuIT.com/COVID. Grab those resources. I think next Friday, or this Friday, 1 week.
Yeah. So we do have the limited time on the pay what you can. So we're looking at Friday as the day where that expires. And then they'll go up to full price. $10. So while you got the opportunity, jump on it now, PursuIT.com/COVID, and you can pay what you can.
Hang in there, guys. See you soon.